Hi, welcome to Webcast One Live. The show you're watching is Your Money, Your Future. Today we've got a special guest in the studio with us. It's Monty Wyatt. Monty is a business coach. And you know what we're going to talk about today? I'm sure you've heard a million times they're a business coach or someone that's going to try to help you with your business or your life. And that's one of the things that Monty wants to talk about is that he's a business coach. He's going to help you with your life. But we really want to talk about the things that you business owners are concerned with, what executives and leadership in different companies are concerned with. And that's really what today is about. We brought Monty on to talk about what everybody's dealing with. And really excited to have Monty. I've known Monty 3-4 years. 3-4 years, yeah. And I'm really excited because I've gotten to know Monty a little bit and know his resume. And he is one of the top coaches really in the country and very, very successful, not just here in Iowa, but all over the country. Today, the show you're watching is Your Money, Your Future. Today is 12/27. Our special guest is Monty Wyatt, and we are excited to talk to you about the things that you're worried about. You as a business owner, you as an executive, the challenges that you're dealing with, we brought Monty on to talk with us. We'll see you in a couple minutes.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios. Listen, watch, chat. This is Webcast One Live. Programs on WebcastOneLive.com are brought to you in part by KDC Builders. Building custom homes for how you live. KDC will take your dreams and turn them into reality. Go to our website, kdcbuilt.com. Or call Hannah Inman at 515-975-9990. And Tom Coates and ConsumerCreditOfAmerica.com. Are you overwhelmed with mounted credit card debt and feel there's no way out? Well, there is. Call 1-800-955-5765 for Consumer Credit of America. That's ccofamerica.com.
Hi, welcome back to Webcast One Live. The show you're watching is Your Money, Your Future. And guys, we talk about this all the time. This show is designed to help you navigate the waters of your life. And, you know, whether that be the financial waters or in today's case, we're talking about your business. That's really what we're here for, is to be a resource, be a sounding board, and to talk about the things that are compelling to you. Yeah, the show's named Your Money, Your Future, and we talk about stuff that's money related. But I'll tell you what, we have, in 2010, we have had a list of awesome guests. I'm really excited to actually end the year with you, Monty. It's going to be kind of fun. But we've had guys like Andy Stoll, we've had Bob Levenstein, we've had guests talking about a lot of different things, business owners, people talking about lifestyle. And what a great way to end the year, to bring in a business coach, somebody that really can help you narrow in the challenges and deal with the issues that you're dealing with as a business owner. And today we brought in Monty Wyatt. Monty, why don't you tell us right off the start where people can find you on the web? Why don't you go ahead and tell us where people can find you?
CoachYourBiz, biz.com.
Okay,
so CoachYourBiz.
CoachYourBiz.com. And all right, so we all hear about business coaches, and kind of being a smart aleck when I say this, you know, it seems like there's been a whole bunch of business coaches since 2008, people that lost jobs and what have you, but that's not you. You were on the leading edge of this coaching thing. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you define your business and what you do to help businesses?
You bet. Well, I've been doing this for actually 6.5 years,
okay,
and spent 14 years in the agricultural chemical industry.
Okay.
And time sales training, sales management, marketing management, and it all led up to doing something different.
Sure.
Certainly couldn't be doing what I'm doing today without it. But you know, most everybody likes to watch athletes or have a fan or be a fan of someone that's very successful in athletics. Sure. And I correlate athletics a lot to what I do. The best athletes in the world have coaches and trainers, okay, to help them take their skills to the next level. Well, that's what I do with executives or business owners, is help them recognize their strengths, help them work on the areas that they need to improve to get more out of their business, whether it's more time, more freedom, more money, whatever it is, or the executive to help them take their skills to get to that next level in the organization.
So, and without naming organizations, but there's an insurance company that you've actually been working with them on their succession plan here in Des Moines. And this isn't some just small little insurance company, but you've been actually laying the framework for helping them prepare the next guy that's in. Is that correct?
It's interesting. I've got clients that have revenue of $200,000 to a client with $500 million in revenue, and that is my role in the example that you're given. Is I'm helping the next in line to be CEO develop his skills, help him think through how he can be a stronger leader, how he can manage better, how he can be more creative, help him think through ways to become stronger in his role.
And so, as a business coach, like we kind of made the joke about the perception of what a business coach is. Just like there are tons of perceptions about what I do. But what makes you different than most people out there?
Well, it's interesting. I bring clear strategies of business to clear strategies of personal development.
Okay.
And I've been trained as an excellent business generalist, so I know a lot about every area of business, but I also know how to help people learn about themselves, how they learn about how to interact with others, and how to be a leader.
Okay.
Because in the business world, you have to be smart with business, but you have to be very smart with people.
And I think it's interesting because I've gone to sessions that you've done, and those are great. I don't care what you do. If you're a business owner like we are, or you're an employee, I think you learn. There's a ton of stuff to learn. And I think one of the things as business owners is that we spend so much time on our business that we don't, we spend so much time in our business that we don't spend time stepping back and really thinking strategically about the big picture. And I think that's really one of the huge value that you bring to the table.
Well, as I define what I do, I use 4 words. The first one is awareness. I help people see things they can't see because they're so close to it every single day.
Like I do with my wife.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
That doesn't work very well.
Yeah. But there's so many, whether it's opportunities or challenges or needs that the business or organization has that we can't see it because we're so deep into the day-to-day stuff.
Kind of like Tiger Woods on his swing. There are times that he needs help.
You got it.
With his other things, but the mechanics he can miss up because he's doing it.
Yeah.
And so that's what you.
So the awareness is the first area. We have to see where the opportunities are, see where the challenges are. The second component is I bring education to it. Whether it's education in the area of leadership or sales and marketing or hiring and developing your team, whatever it might be, we bring proven strategies to help you get there faster. The third word is implementation. We think about how do we make this most effective in your business, with your team, with your next steps, with your goals. And the last word's probably the most difficult and the hardest. It's discipline. I bring discipline and accountability to my business owner clients or my executive clients because in many cases, who's holding them accountable?
Right. And so whether they like it or not, they're paying you to be that guy that says, really? You said you were going to do whatever.
Right.
Are you doing it?
Yes.
And so as a business coach, how do you obviously you've been given authority by the business owner or by that company to be that outside person, but there's got to be a balance because you can't hammer them too hard. So how do you walk that line of, hey, you told me this is what you want. How hard do I hold you accountable? How do you walk that line?
Well, the interesting thing is before I start any relationship with someone, I have to get agreement that they are willing to change. They want someone to push them because if we agree on everything, what's the point of both of us being in the room?
Right.
And so they agree that, or they allow me to not be nice to them. And what I mean by that is nice stands for nothing inside me cares enough. You've hired me to help you take your skills or your business to the next level. I'm not always going to be nice. I'm going to push you. I'm going to challenge you.
You're going to be honest.
Exactly. I'm going to be honest. Say, what you did isn't right for that person, or let me ask you a few questions to make sure you saw this correctly.
Sure. So you're kind of a mirror. Because you're showing them as you see it, is trying to be as truthful as possible.
But a lot of times it isn't necessarily what I see. I do share what I see, but I'm also asking tough questions so they can see it.
Kind of explore
so
that.
They can explore it because I really want to teach people how to be a thought leader. And mostly today people are doing versus thinking. And the more we think, the easier things actually get.
Interesting.
Even if you take just a few minutes every day to step back and think about where we're headed, what we're doing, let's think first.
Interesting. And so when you're out, and it's interesting, we had lunch a couple weeks ago, and this is really fascinating. We're doing this right now. We're doing the show streaming live via the web. Most of your meetings are not face-to-face anymore. Is that correct? Technology has allowed you to really work all over the world. You don't have to be in Des Moines, Iowa.
I've got clients that are in Scotland. I've got clients in Canada. I've got clients across the state, and I've got clients down the street. But it's not necessarily about me being face-to-face. It's more about the conversation, the challenges that I bring to them. But it's again, meeting their goals. Where are we trying to get to, and how can we get there most effectively?
So, as a business coach, and maybe this is something that this is probably going to be a longer question than just this segment, but what are the challenges that you're seeing business owners? Are there common challenges, or is it unique to every business? Because, in my business, there's a common theme. People want to make sure that they have enough money. They want to make sure that they're not making big mistakes. They want to make sure that they have enough money when they retire. And they want to make sure that if they have some money left over, they get it to their kids as effectively as possible and efficiently as possible.
Sure.
Are there some commonalities, whether it's a small business or a multinational corporation with $500 million in revenue? Are there some common things?
Well, it's interesting. I'd say there's probably three common themes. Now, the first one is time. They don't have enough time to get everything done. Well, there's some root causes to their time. They're either not giving up some things that someone else should be doing because they've got everything in their head and they can't trust that another person to do it.
They're the magic.
They feel like they're the magic. And one of the things that I bring about it as it regards to time, we can't manage people. We can only manage processes and lead people. Right. Well, what are the processes that we have our organization or our team or our employees doing? Because if the processes are all us, if we get hit by that bus downstairs, who's going to follow a process, or what process are they going to do?
You don't have a business if you get hit.
Well, exactly.
If you're everything, you don't have a business. You got
to make sure that the business is following processes, and let's manage the processes and let's lead our team to follow them.
Is that tough to get people to start thinking about that? Becoming process oriented, or is it pretty easy?
Well, there's a lot of businesses that people name after themselves, so they make the business around themselves, right? We've talked about that, but so they feel that they have to do everything.
Sure.
Well, I've talked to a lot of business owners. One of my clients that I've had for 3 years, his business is named after him, and he named it a long time ago, even before we started. But we've talked about this. If he were to start all over, he wouldn't have named it after him. But he's made a brand because he doesn't want it to be about him now that we're working together.
Right. Interesting. So you said there are three things.
So the first one is time.
Right.
The second one is team. Now, you talk to whether it's any corporation or any small business, they can't seem to find good people.
Can't get the right people right bus and all that.
Can't find the right people to work in my business. Well, it goes back to the systems. We want to make sure that we're hiring people for the right characteristics. They've got to match the culture of our organization, or the culture that we want to have, but also the characteristics that we want that position that they're hiring for to have. Whether it's characteristics of detail-oriented or assertiveness or whatever it is, that we can name quite a few of them, but most people hire on resumes, what their past experience is. Well, my view goes to, let's hire on characteristics so we have the right style of person, and let's train them to follow our process for that role.
Sure. And okay.
So the second one is team, but everybody says, well, I can't find the right people. Well, it goes down to training. So my question is, would you rather hire someone that has 100% of the skills and 80% of the mindset, or 100% of the mindset and 80% of the skills?
Because you can teach skill.
We should be teaching the skills. Most people say, well, I don't have time to teach them. I want to hire somebody that's just going to go off and run. Well, that's going to cost you extra money, and if they're experienced in that area, are they going to do it your way, or are they going to do it the way they've always done it?
Interesting. That's
So
interesting.
as you think about team, let's think about putting some more thought into it again. Let's hire for characteristics, and let's train them on the process we want them to follow for whatever role it might be.
It's interesting. I had lunch, coffee, with a guy that sells businesses, and like we're talking not Subway, and not that there's not the little Subway franchise. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, manufacturing type companies, and Jim Zapersky talks about there are really three things that businesses sell, three reasons they sell, and almost all three of those are limiters of the business owner or age.
Right.
And one of the stories he was telling us is he wound up marketing a business because the CEO said, you know what, I know how to make widgets, but I don't know how to hire a CFO.
Right.
So he sold his business because he couldn't hire the right people. And the investors brought in the right people, but it's really interesting that you mentioned that. So we've got time.
Yep.
We've got team. What's the third one?
Third one is money. Whether your money is your profit or your revenue, most people focus on their revenues and profits. What I help people focus on are the actions that create those results.
Okay.
And that's the whole different thing. The only way to change the results is to change the areas of our actions.
Okay.
And
No, go ahead. I'm formulating as I'm listening here.
well, the big thing about the actions is we look at our business. If we want to be here in revenue, where are we now in our revenue or our actions, and what actions need to change to get to there? Is it the average dollar sale, or the number of times a client comes back to us?
Sure.
Or is it of our sales force, what's our conversion rate?
Sure.
And we've got to focus on the actions that create the results to get us more revenue.
Okay. Guys, the show you're watching is Your Money, Your Future. Today our guest, it's the last show of 2010, and today our guest is Monty Wyatt. Monty is a business coach. And where do people find you on the web again, Monty?
CoachYourBiz.com.
CoachYourBiz.com. Be a great place for you to go and check Monty out, learn a little bit about him. But really there's a good reason that we've got Monty on the show. We've just come through, and we're still in some challenging times. And you know what? I'll tell you what. I don't think that challenging times are ever going to go away, and because it's the reality that we live in. And as business owners, we deal with stuff. And I'll tell you what, that's what this show's about, is to bring people on like Monty that can help you navigate the waters towards where the challenges and the things that you need to hear as a business owner, as an executive. And we're honored to have you here with Monty. Will you come back on the other side of this?
Gladly, you bet.
Okay, guys, the show you're watching is Your Money. We are broadcasting from webcast1live.com. We'll see you in a couple minutes.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios. Listen, watch, chat. This is Webcast One Live. Programs on webcast1live.com are brought to you in part by KDC Builders. Building custom homes for how you live. KDC will take your dreams and turn them into reality. Go to our website, kdcbuilt.com, or call Hannah Inman at 515-975-9990. And Tom Coates and ConsumerCreditOfAmerica.com. Are you overwhelmed with mounted credit card debt and feel there's no way out? Well, there is. Call 1-800-955-5765 for Consumer Credit of America. That's ccofamerica.com.
The Kincaids live here. Across the street, the Padillas. Ben and his family live here, too. Ben's a RE/MAX agent, and he's a big part of this community. There are lots of reasons why RE/MAX agents average more sales than other agents. Experience, certainly. But maybe it's also because they care about the markets they serve and the neighbors who rely on them. Nobody sells more real estate than RE/MAX.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios. Listen, watch, chat. This is Webcast One Live. Programs on WebcastOneLive.com are brought to you in part by KDC Builders. Building custom homes for how you live. KDC will take your dreams and turn them into reality. Go to our website, kdcbuilt.com. Or call Hannah Inman at 515-975-9990. And Tom Coates and ConsumerCreditOfAmerica.com. Are you overwhelmed with mounted credit card debt and feel there's no way out? Well, there is. Call 1-800-955-5765 for Consumer Credit of America. That's ccofamerica.com.
Hi guys, welcome back. The show you're watching is Your Money, Your Future. Today our guest is Monty White. This is our final show of 2010. And I'll tell you what, we are excited to be broadcasting to you live. Wow, that was not that easy to say. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios here in Des Moines. And I'll tell you what, we're excited to be broadcasting from Des Moines because it doesn't matter where we are, you're getting the message. If you're watching us in California, thank you. If you're watching us, wherever you're watching us, we're glad to have you as a guest, and we're glad to have Monty as a guest. And I think it's a great way to end the year to have a business coach on, because we've had business owners, we've had people talking about lifestyle on all year, and I think it's a great way to kind of be an anchor for us to have you as our guest. And before the break, we were talking about the major things that business owners, corporations deal with, and there are three commonalities that Monty told us, and they are time, team, and money. See, I can even remember a little bit.
Good memory, you bet.
Time, team, and money. And one of the things that Monty and I were talking about during the break is, you know what? Yeah, we are in an environment where unemployment is 9.6, 9.7%. And sure, things are challenging. And yeah, maybe banking is more difficult. But I'll tell you what, as a business owner, we're always dealing with challenges. And I don't want to discount the fact that we're dealing with some very real issues, and there are companies that have had trouble with credit and all kinds of stuff. But I think sometimes we overplay the times are tough card, and we don't just get out there and engage our business and work on the business so that it works effectively. And I think that's what you're here to talk about, is talking about those kind of challenges. So tell us a little bit. I mean, you said that's kind of one of the things that is your hot button.
To go back to what we talked about before the break, it's about the actions that you're doing to get the results that you want. And if we're consistently doing the actions, consistently marketing, consistently giving great customer service, consistently being out in front of your prospects, whatever it might be.
Whatever that is, yeah.
Yeah, you have to be thinking ongoing of where am I taking the business, where am I going. We get comfortable.
Sure.
No matter what we're doing, we can get so comfortable that, hey, everything is fine. We don't need to worry about things. But when hard times do hit, that's when we really find out how good we are.
Or how bad we've been.
Because anybody can be great in an upswing.
Sure.
Any business can be great. It's the ones that survive the downswings because they've been so consistent. People are reliable.
And I'll tell you what, Monty, and I don't know if you guys look at it this way, but our view is, in our business, as financial planners, as wealth management people, absolutely the last, probably really, if you really dig deep, it's been tough since about 2000. We've had real challenging environments, right? But that's not all bad. Just like fires aren't bad, they burn off some of the wood, and there can be less competition on the other side.
You bet.
And so it's not all bad to have tough times if you're willing to adapt and survive.
I've got a client in the retail business, and we've been working together for 3.5 years in some form or another, and he had hit a ceiling, couldn't break through it. Well, we put some simple things in place to be more consistent with his marketing, more consistent with how we deal with our employees, more consistent with how we're dealing with clients. And over the last 1.5 years, his business has actually grown in retail. And he's a destination. He's not at a mall. He's a destination. People have to come to his location.
Is he a pretty narrow segment of the market as well?
Very much segment, because he's in a specialty market.
Okay.
Not everybody's going to go by to him. They have to be wanting some of his products because they're enjoying that aspect of entertainment, so to speak.
Sure. Interesting. And so he very well could have, in the last couple of years, used the excuse, bad economy, bad market, bad whatever, and folded up shop.
Instead of saying, well, things are bad, I guess we've hit our mark, he said, I want to figure out how to push through this ceiling. Mm-hmm. And that's where he and I got connected, and we started getting him thinking differently about his business, starting to be more proactive and assertive instead of, let's just wait and see what happens. There's a lot of wait and see what happens going on.
All right. Without, and I'm going to push you now. This is where it's fun to tell me specifically, and not the business, not revenue, not that kind of stuff, but how did you go in a retail space where things are tough? What did you do? What as a coach did you do?
So one of the first things that we did was looked at where he was spending money on marketing. Mm-hmm. He was spending $5,000 to $8,000 a month in a certain area of marketing.
So $100,000 a year.
So my first question to him was, what's your return every month on that marketing? Mm-hmm. His answer was, I have no idea. So for the next 30 days, we tested and measured and asked every person that came into his store, how did you hear about us? How did you hear about us? At the end of that 30 days, how many people responded that they came from that method of marketing? Was zero.
So he was spending anywhere from $60,000 to $90,000 a year on something that was generating nothing.
Well, for that month. So the next month we stopped that marketing effort. Mm-hmm. His business revenue didn't change. He didn't lose anything. He didn't gain anything. He was kept on being consistent. So what we learned from that is, let's invest our marketing wisely, and let's test and measure every dollar that we're spending. Mm-hmm. If we're spending $1,000 on this, let's make sure we're getting $8,000 back. Mm-hmm. And let's test and measure everything that we do so we know when we spend this, we're going to get something in return.
X amount of return.
If we're not testing and measuring, how do we know what's working and what's not? Mm-hmm. Most people say, well, it's bringing people in. Well, I don't care what the marketing method is. We have to be testing and measuring, and we have to know how much money we're spending and what the return on that investment is.
Okay. And so you started helping him. Now I'm being confrontational here, so just I know that up front. So you did that for 3.5 years? That's what you've done for the last 3.5 years with him?
We did that in 30 days.
So you were able to figure out pretty quickly that the use of probably if you annualize it, $60,000.
So we rearranged his funds. So that's just one strategy that we did.
Sure.
The next strategy was with his floor sales folks, his employees. Mm-hmm. When we first started, his average dollar sale that his sales folks on the floor were doing was $65
per transaction.
Per transaction.
Okay.
It's now over 90.
Wow. Okay.
So talk about, we had to train the sales staff. We had to talk about how we ask questions to the customers coming in to find out what they need, to help them really see the value that they're providing.
So my bet is you went, now I'm tying things together here. So you went back and found that there probably wasn't a process to hire the people. There probably wasn't a real good process to train the people. And so you probably worked on those processes as well.
So it's all about process. It's interesting. This is a family-owned business, mm-hmm. and actually a number of the employees were at one time family members.
Did they get kicked out of the family?
So they didn't get kicked out of the family. Some of the family members don't work in the business anymore.
Sure.
It's because they weren't willing to change and follow the new processes. Because it is about a process. If we're going to sell this item, we need to follow this process.
Sure.
If we're going to promote this product, we need to follow this process. And it's not about creating robots. It's about being consistent. So if you go out to a great dinner with your wife, mm-hmm. and you just had a marvelous time, you tell all your friends about it, and you tell them the server that you had, mm-hmm. well, they go to that same restaurant, get a different server, they might get a totally different experience.
Sure.
You want to make sure that you're consistent every time. So
same store experience.
Same store experience no matter which store you go in.
Right.
But it's about the consistency. So no matter which sales clerk you get, you're getting the same experience.
Interesting. So can you quantify not in dollars, but maybe in percentages, what working with what you've done before and after, what does that business look like before and after in terms of revenue? I mean, and you don't have to give me numbers, but talk about percentages.
Well, I'll share what a client that I've had for 3 years uses. He said in the first 12 months that I worked with him, I paid for myself for 4 years. So he said, why would I ever get rid of you? And I said, exactly. If we do that every year. And that's why the long term, we go to this level in a business, well, now let's go to the next level. Sure. We've solved these things, now let's go solve the next one. Or let's expand the business. You know, let's add new products, let's add new locations, let's add whatever.
Interesting. So now, kind of a gear shift here. You said that you work with some larger companies as well. How do they, I mean, in using this succession plan example, how do they look to analyze the return on helping the next guy become the CEO? How do they analyze that?
As I work with executives, and I work at many different levels with executives, can be from their interaction with other people. So I use some assessment tools that we can measure progress over time in getting other feedback that are very much looking at results and numbers of how people rate you, or even could be sales numbers.
Sure.
But it's also about development and getting places that you want them to get to faster. I really believe that I speed up the inevitable. Everybody, if you're an executive or business owner, you've got some level of assertiveness and knowledge that you are bringing to the table. But a big part of it is that I'm going to help speed up the inevitable so you get there faster and maybe even more effective.
And maybe with advanced skill sets that they wouldn't.
More skill sets that maybe they wouldn't have.
Okay, so the show you guys are watching is Your Money, Your Future. Today our guest is Monty Wyatt. You can find him on the web at www.coachyourbiz.com. Monty can also be reached in his office at
515-222-9193.
That's 515-222-9193. Wow,
Yep.
God, pretty good.
Memory is good.
Yeah. Recall, right? I can do that for about 30 seconds when I'm done. Guys, I'll tell you what. This is kind of a cool way to end the year. The entire year we've been talking with business owners, executives, and we've been hearing the challenges that they've been dealing with, and quite successfully. But what an interesting way to kind of put a bow on the year, and that is to bring somebody like Monty in to talk about how you go about being a more effective and maybe more profitable business owner. And yeah, we talk about in terms of profit, but maybe it's also maybe having some more time.
Yeah.
Guys, the show you're watching is Your Money, Your Future. Our special guest today is Monty Wyatt. What should we talk about on the other side of the break, Monty? What do you want to talk about?
You've mentioned a couple times about ending the year. Let's talk about starting the year.
Oh, cool. It's like you should do a show.
Always think.
There you go. Guys, we'll be back in a couple minutes. We'll be back with Monty Wyatt. Thanks a lot.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios. Listen, watch, chat. This is Webcast One Live. Programs on webcast1live.com are brought to you in part by KDC Builders. Building custom homes for how you live. KDC will take your dreams and turn them into reality. Go to our website, kdcbuilt.com, or call Hannah Inman at 515-975-9990. And Tom Coates and ConsumerCreditOfAmerica.com. Are you overwhelmed with mounted credit card debt and feel there's no way out? Well, there is. Call 1-800-955-5765 for Consumer Credit of America. That's ccofamerica.com.
The Kincaids live here. Across the street, the Padillas. Ben and his family live here too. Ben's a RE/MAX agent, and he's a big part of this community. There are lots of reasons why RE/MAX agents average more sales than other agents. Experience, certainly. But maybe it's also because they care about the markets they serve and the neighbors who rely on them. Nobody sells more real estate than RE/MAX.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios. Listen, watch, chat. This is Webcast One Live. Programs on webcast1live.com are brought to you in part by KDC Builders. Building custom homes for how you live. KDC will take your dreams and turn them into reality. Go to our website, kdcbuilt.com, or call Hannah Inman at 515-975-9990. And Tom Coates and ConsumerCreditOfAmerica.com. Are you overwhelmed with mounted credit card debt and feel there's no way out? Well, there is. Call 1-800-955-5765 for Consumer Credit of America. That's ccofamerica.com.
You're watching is Your Money, Your Future. We are broadcasting live from the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studio here in Des Moines, Iowa. And it is, it's December 27th, 5:22, and the weather is lovely outside. We had a white Christmas, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
We had a white Christmas, and I'll tell you what a great way to end the year here on this show. And I've talked about that several times. Today our guest is Monty Wyatt. In the first segment of the show, we were talking about common challenges that business owners have, and they are time, team, money. The second segment, what do we talk about second segment? The stuff that business owners and how a coach will work with them and some successes that you've had.
Focusing on the actions to get to the results.
Yeah. And you know what, guys, we're talking about the end of 2010. And during the break, Monty and I were talking about 2011 and how at our firm, HJN Advisors, and you can find us on the web at www.hjnadvisors.com, we've laid out some goals as a business, and it's kind of scary when you lay out goals because sometimes then you're like, holy cow, I've got to work. Why don't you talk a little bit about, getting a good start to the year? And you can make a good start anytime. You can stop having a bad year anytime you want.
Exactly.
But what you're saying is some things to think about going into 11.
Well, I first want to say it's a choice. That we are choosing what we're going after.
Right.
But it first starts with your personal goals.
Sure.
Personally, what do you want out of your life? Your business goals should help you achieve your personal goals.
Sure.
No matter if you're an executive or business owner, your personal goals should be driving what you do in your business. And so we're at a great time to start annually. What do we want for 2011? What do we want for revenue? What do we want for profit? What do you want for time off? What do you want for new employees, number of employees, whatever it is? But it does first start with goals. And I'd much rather start with an aggressive goal and come in at 90% of an aggressive goal than say, oh, this is achievable, and then come in at 90% of what we think is achievable. It's about what do we really want and then creating the actions to get there. And I truly believe that every person in every business, no matter what the size of the organization is, needs a 90-day action plan. So if this is what we want by the end of the year, what do we have to get done by the end of March?
Because you can eat an elephant one bite at a time. You can't eat the whole thing at once.
You got it. And so to get there annually, what do we have to do in January? What do we have to get done by January 15th? And put some dates, specific actions by what date. And this is what we want to have done by the end of the year. And then by the end of March, you create your second quarter 90-day plan. But it's about actions. It's not about just having a big plan that we're going to, this is where we're going. But you got to have actions.
We're going to win the Super Bowl, but we're not going to practice in August.
You got to have the practice. I was at the gym the other day. And
Prairie Life.
Prairie Life, thank you.
I see the big red truck.
Yes. But a gentleman in the gym, he was a freshman at Iowa State on the wrestling team. And he was talking about all the simple things that the coach was teaching them to do. And it's about getting the simple things right. And that's what a lot of times what we have to do in our business might be setting goals that we have to get our customer service level right. We have to get our marketing consistent. Those can be great goals, but they're actions that we have to take to hit that revenue.
So how do you help? I mean, it seems pretty obvious. if somebody's morbidly obese, they obviously want to lose 10 pounds, and then they want to lose 20 pounds, and they want to lose 30 pounds. But how do you go about setting a business? How do you help them set goals? That seems, or how do you help an executive say, I'm going to be CEO in 18 months. I need to. How do you talk to them about having goals for that type of stuff?
We first have to look backwards and say where have we been? Mm-hmm. Let's understand how we've gotten to where we are, what our strengths are, what our areas of growth need to be, and from there we do step back and say, okay, what do you want it to be? And let's look personally first. Mm-hmm. What do you see the future of your life being? If it is retirement, or if it's selling your business, or whatever it is, you have to define personally what you want, and then let's relate some business goals to get there. And from there we look at, okay, these are our challenges. What are the challenges or the things that we need? I have some checklists that I use with my clients to help determine what they have or don't have in their business, whether it's marketing plan or a hiring process, or whatever it is. We look at that checklist to help determine, okay, so if this is where we want to go, which of these things are going to help get us there most effectively?
You've been talking a lot about process and kind of the higher level stuff. And what I didn't do is I didn't give you enough time at the beginning of the show to brag about your successes as a coach. You said, I've been in business for 6.5 years, but this isn't something that you're struggling at, and you need a coach. You've told me some cool stuff, and none of it in a braggadocious manner by any means, but you have coaches, you have business coaches come to you and say, hey, will you coach me? So clearly you're pretty successful at this. Tell us a little bit more about some of the successes that you've had as a coach.
Well, maybe before I share the successes, I'm going to tell you my first 18 months in business weren't very pretty. But month 18 is when I actually hired a coach, and I still have that same coach today.
Very cool.
So 5 years later, that coach and I, first thing every Monday, we have our conversation. Okay. That helps me get guided. I'm very congruent in what I teach my clients I must do in my business. If I don't have a coach, how can I go out and sell that someone should have a coach?
Sure.
But it's interesting. After I did hire my coach, he got me to do the right things to be consistent in a business.
Systematizing it.
Systemizing, doing it consistent with every aspect of the business. But over the last number of years, I've been asked by our organization to be global trainers. We have coaches all over the world. I'm one of 5 or 6 global trainers that go many times a year to train new coaches. But I've also been consistently in the top 50 in the world within Action Coach for the last 3.5 years. And that's pretty huge, because we're talking this is Des Moines, Iowa. We've got coaches in Denver. We've got coaches in LA and Atlanta and in Dallas, and where there's a lot more businesses. But it's not about the businesses, it's about the impact that you're making on the businesses.
And the interesting thing, when I listen to you talk, I've noticed a progression in you as well, and that is you are moving, and obviously you've got your core business is the smaller business, but you're morphing to where bigger businesses and, like we talked about, larger companies are coming to you and saying, Monty, wow, we want to hire you. And that's got to be real validation for you as a coach.
Well, it's interesting. Over time, my clientele's revenue has gotten larger that are coming to being a client. Like I said, I still have very small businesses, a couple $100,000 in revenue to many, many millions. But the more experience that I get, the more I work on me, the better I get. The better I get, the larger organizations see me as how I can help
valuable
them.
To their
organization. So that I'm constantly learning as well. As you talk about a new year, it's not just about what are our goals. It's how do I want to grow in the new year.
Sure.
How many?
Because that's going to limit.
How many books are you reading every month? Not just one a year. The most successful people in the world, they're reading a book every week. And it's because the more knowledge they get, the more they can help other people.
I heard something. to determine where you're going to be 5 years from now, it depends on the people you get around and the books you read.
Yeah.
And it's a great, I mean, and that justifies having a coach and getting around other like-minded.
Well, I want to add one more statement to that phrase. It's not just the books that you read, the people that you meet, it's the action that you take.
Sure.
You know, we can sit back, well, I'm going to wait and see what happens. If you wait and see what happens, you're going to have people flying past you. We've got to take the actions to change our business. What are the 5 things that we're going to do in 2011 to make our business grow 20%, to make our business get to this level, whatever it is? Identify those 5 actions to get there.
This might be a tough question. Might not be something that you can answer because it's kind of an out there question. But and whether it's, well, let me just ask it. If there were 3 things for 2011 that you would tell people, and obviously one of those is going to be hire a coach, what are the 2 other things that you would tell a business owner or an executive that's looking to move on in 2011? What are the other 2 things that you would?
Well, I can name more than 2 things, but the first thing that you have to do is...
got a couple seconds.
Yeah, but the first thing you have to do is set your revenue targets that you desire to have. You know, set a plan. Okay, if you say you want to get X, what are the actions that we have to take to get there? And what's your marketing plan to support getting there? Okay. You've got to do that. The second thing I would suggest is, what's your personal development plan? How are you going to get better? You know, whether it's conferences that you're going to attend, whether it's workshops you're going to attend, whether it's books that you're reading, you have to grow. In order for you to get to the next level, you have to learn more.
Guys, the show you're watching is Your Money, Your Future. Today our guest has been Monty Wyatt. And you can find Monty on the web at www.yourbizcoach.
Coach Your Biz.
Oh, Coach Your Biz. I'm sorry. CoachYourBiz.com. Hey, Max, is that up on the screen right now? CoachYourBiz.com. Okay, so it's right under your face right now. They can also catch you at 515-222-9193. Guys, we are thrilled to be a part of your life in 2010. We're excited to be a part of your life in 2011. Monty, obviously we could talk for hours. Will you come back in 2011 and join us and share with us what's going on in the world of business coaching?
Gladly come back, and if you want business tips every day, follow me on Facebook or Twitter.
Oh, what's your Twitter handle?
It's Coach Monty.
Okay.
Or on Facebook, it's Coach Monty Wyatt. So you can get business tips, business growth tips, personal tips, anything to help you grow and your business grow. Provide them every day.
One more time, your Twitter handle is?
Coach Monty.
Okay. And then at Coach Monty on Twitter.
That's correct.
And then on Facebook, it's?
Coach Monty Wyatt.
Coach Monty Wyatt. Guys, the show you've been watching is Your Money, Your Future. We are absolutely thrilled to be a part of your life. If you've got financial questions or if there's something that you'd like to bounce around, feel free to give me a call in my office at 515-245-3843, or you can catch me on the web at www.hjnadvisors.com. We'll catch you guys next week. It'll be 2011. What a great year.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios. Listen, watch, chat. This is Webcast One Live. Programs on WebcastOneLive.com are brought to you in part by KDC Builders. Building custom homes for how you live. KDC will take your dreams and turn them into reality. Go to our website, kdcbuilt.com, or call Hannah Inman at 515-975-9990. And Tom Coates and ConsumerCreditOfAmerica.com. Are you overwhelmed with mounted credit card debt and feel there's no way out? Well, there is. Call 1-800-955-5765 for Consumer Credit of America. That's ccofamerica.com.